I'm Kate Maddalena. I'm an assistant professor at the University of North Carolina at Wilmington.
And I'm Jeremy Packer. I'm a professor at North Carolina State University.
And we're here to talk about our article, The Digital Body, Telegraphy as Discourse Network. It's an article about flag telegraphy during the Civil War, specifically during the years 1861 to about 1865, when this man, Albert James Meyer, started the United States Army Signal Corps, which became the eyes and ears of the U.S. military, and still is. Our major theorist that we're responding with and responding to is Friedrich Kittler, who sets up his discussion of material communication networks with a kind of dichotomy between 1800 and 1900. Our moment in history falls conveniently right in the middle of that, and the transition is from a literary communication network that's based on words and the alphabet to a digital communication network. And this is definitely part of the continuum, part of filling in part of that story, that transition between those two.
So one element of the history of communication technology that we're addressing is what Jeffrey Winthrop Young calls Kittler's war answer, which is the sense that for Kittler that it's usually military technology that has led the way in most of the significant changes in the history of communications or communication networks. And one of the things that he suggests is that command in war must be digital because war is noisy. And this, in a sense, is the telos of the Signal Corps, whose motto was "the message must get through." I originally was interested in this topic because I was trying to shift the orientation when we think about the power of the presidency and communication away from a content-oriented or rhetorical approach in which presidents were sort of deemed powerful according to their ability to connect with people. So, for instance, one of the big issues with President Lincoln were the Lincoln-Douglas debates, and he was considered the great orator. And so rather than focus on Lincoln as a speaker, a public speaker, I started looking at the way in which Lincoln had more or less what we could consider the first communications network for military purposes.
That network was based on telegraphy, telegraphy that followed train lines. But in our case, we're talking about flag telegraphy. That system, which is reducible to integers, basically, it's a numerical system of communication, is also a part of the history of digital technology, a digital teleology, according to Friedrich Kittler.
One of the things that was interesting about Myers historically was that he was a telegraph operator in his youth, and then he went to medical school, and he actually wrote his dissertation on a binary system of communication for the deaf that was based on Morse code, which he had learned as a telegraph operator.